I'll go with Barry.
You are a genius, and here's why. Here's what I notice. Here's what I'm aware of. Because the gap is what individual humans are doing right now and what they could be doing. I'm going to say that again. It is what human beings are doing now, currently, and what they could be doing if they were exceeding to their fullest potential, if they were performing at their highest level, because someone recognized that they really could be all that they can be. No, that's cliche, but it's true. So that's what linchpin is all about. That's what linchpin is, our book. And what I really love is the subtitle of linchpin, because this is the question we should be asking every day of ourselves. Are we indispensable? Are we indispensable as an individual, as a school, as a system? Because answering this question makes us realize what are the attributes that make someone a linchpin, that makes someone indispensable, that makes someone say, I can't do this in my company, in my classroom, in my school without you. And it's amazing if you weed down what the answer to that question is, whether you call them 21st century skills, whether you call them linchpin skills, whether you call them world skills, I call them habitudes, because those indispensable individuals are habitually doing indispensable things. But what is most extraordinary about what I notice about individuals that are indispensable to an organization, to a classroom, to me as a human being, is their mindset, is their attitude. It's the way they look at the world, the way they look at other people in the world, the way they look at their role in the world. They have a responsibility to help other people be indispensable. So when I think about those attributes, I think about how many instances do we see in a day, in a classroom, of individual human beings doing extraordinary, genius, indispensable things. And I love the way Seth Godin defines genius. It's not what you're thinking, like Albert Einstein comes to mind, and he is absolutely genius level, but not for the reasons you might think, that he discovered the theory of relativity or that he changed the world of science, but because he could ask really good questions. And he defines his own self as a genius because he celebrated the fact that not only could he ask really good questions, but he could stick with them longer than any other scientist he knew. So when I think about those qualities, somebody that is willing to ask really tough questions, that's willing to stand behind and be tenacious about answering those, but even more importantly, that's able to help others come in and say, this question revealed a problem that is so big, that is so crucial, that I need the community, I need the world to help me solve this. And plead to the world, help me solve this problem. I need your genius. And that's what I ran into. This is the path behind my house when it's not snowing the other 7 months in Iowa, when we have a little bit of nice weather. I try to go out there and run, and it's so nice, and it goes along the lake, and it's 14 miles long, but the path that's around my neighborhood is about 2 miles long. And 2 summers ago, I was just on a normal bike ride with my family, and I saw literally 60 of these pleas to the world, to the community. Please don't kill the animals. Here's some animals that you shouldn't kill. You should not kill pandas. You should not kill manatees. You should not kill snow leopards and something else that's an animal you shouldn't kill. And I was compelled by the message, yes, but I was more compelled by the perpetrator of the message, the writer of the message, and I thought, who has so much tenacity, who has so much courage, who has so much perseverance, that they would go out there and literally, mile after mile after mile, put 60 of these things out. Because people were stopping on their bikes. They were getting off their bikes, and along each one of these little posters was like a little can, and there was 30 cents, and then there was $1, and there was 70 cents, and I'm like, wow, what is this scientist trying to do? I need to find him or her. So I followed the path just like Goldilocks and like her crumbs. I'm like, okay, I've got to find this writer, I've got to find this writer. Who is this writer? Who is this genius who is willing to contribute their time, their study, their gifts to the world to solve its problems, to make it better? And I ended up finding her. Here she is. Her name's Haley. And at that time, she was just preparing for kindergarten. Or I don't know what it is in Canadian, but at 5 years old, she was just turning 5 years old. And so she was preparing for, like, the real world, going to school. And the first thing I met her, let her parents know I'm not some crazy idiot. I'm an educator. I really want to find this child. And she invited me in. She goes, would you like to come to my lab? I go, yes. And it doubled as her bedroom, but at that moment, it's her lab. It looked like this. It looks like I was walking into Einstein's lab, and these piles of paper. There's a pile, there's a pile, there's a pile. Signature after signature, hundreds of dollars had been collected. A giant picture of a panda on her wall, her study, her research. She's like, I've devoted my life to this problem. 2 whole years of it, because I couldn't talk or walk or write before them. I've devoted my life to this problem. She goes, but I know this is not enough. Would you like to see Plan B? What would you say? I had to fall over and then get back up like, there's a Plan B. Seriously, there's a Plan B. She goes, just a minute. She goes in her closet, she's changing clothes, she comes out, she's wearing it. So I want you to really think about this in terms of genius level. Your ability to study and devote yourself to your own talent, whatever that is. To be able to collect that, to share it, to put it towards something that would change the world. Think about what that takes. And so she knows that the people that are walking on a path are not going to have as much time to sign something. She also knows that the individuals in the neighborhood are going to be able to rally on the cause, but that's a very small part of her world, which at that point was all of Waukee, which is like the big suburb of Des Moines, the metropolis capital of Iowa. And so it was a big world for going to the mall. So she goes, I've got to do something quick. And so her mom gave her these magic markers. She has one for every day of the week, to give a break to her mom in case she didn't want to do laundry. In bright colors, fluorescent colors, talk about marketing, talk about putting a movement together. And she just did icons. And when you flip it around to the back, it says, ask me more. She's taken her cause worldwide, at least Des Moines-wide. Imagine what technology could do for her. So I'm thinking about this. And as extraordinary as it is to meet Haley, to see her work, to be invited into her genius mind, to think about the panda that will benefit from what she has done and who she's gathered around here, I started thinking, all of these things that we're talking about, all of these things, like I think Ian said this morning, we've been talking about 21st century skills 11 years into the decade, and nobody can actually really label what it is.